So I started off the last video with this idea of disinformation, misinformation. Why are people not honest, especially in the government and the media? And this leads you to realize about special interests, lobbyists, corruption, cronyism, corporatism, things that are controlling the state or the authority structure. So basically the best, most broad view of reality will show you that it's generally authority. People that are in the position, in the power of being able to tell you what is what. Everything from educating the youth to, how adults make their decisions and affecting consumerism, commercialism, all aspects of business and the economy and lifestyle. So this type of thing can be used by anybody, and I mean anybody. But going back to the old phrase, honesty is the best policy. Who does that anymore? Everything's so twisted and distorted, and there's doublespeak, newspeak. Who do you trust anymore? Is this a new thing? No, not totally. This has been going on all through the past decade and the 20th century. If you want to divide things according to the 100 years and when the century changes, which I don't. It's just that's another thing that's misleading. That's a part of the control mechanism. That also is not quite that. I wouldn't say that it's misinformation. It's just part of the overall ignorance. We need to time things out properly to know the scheme that we're in. How close are we to having a better world? In other words, are we anywhere near it, living through that 20th century, that 100 years, or what about the 19th century, 1900s? I'm sorry, 1800s. 1800 to 1899 to actually 1900 is part of the 1800s. 1900. Just like they say the year 2000, 2000 is really a part of the 20th century. The 21st century, the millennium, didn't actually start until 2001. But anyhow, that's just a semantical, mathematical take on it. We are not very far because we are not being that honest. We can't be. People have their reasons. I'm not saying that it's just an out of control game that they're doing. There's all kinds of control mechanisms in it. There's a reason why everybody does these dangerous ploys. There's a reason. There is a very good reason. And yes, I'm always carrying. I always carry. And if not, you know that my hands are deadly weapons, as well as my teeth. I started out on YouTube 6 years ago, and this is going to mark a big turning point coming up. We're coming to the full moon. That cycle is going to end, and then I would say the next moon cycle is going to be like an anniversary for me on here. It says personal. But 6 years ago, I set out to do something that was going to be the real deal, like a real life, truly broadcasting yourself, which is not done anymore like that. It's all got to be PC and connected with, you got to talk about things that you don't want to talk about just to get views or just to get noticed. And by the way, I came out as probably on the wrong side of things, making those mistakes, but being true to certain principles and ideals. I don't regret it, but it's just good to become aware of that, and so I can move forward, so I can decide on how things are going to develop. Now, the thing about the game with the information is so that it's being done so that you can keep your opponent, or just the general public, which is your opponent, in the dark. You keep them confused, or you give them information that is not confusion, but it paints the inaccurate picture. You want them to think that so that they react a certain way and cannot react to the real thing. Because how they would react to the real thing is like the old phrase, the wise old saying, the emperor wears no clothes. One of the tactics that is used by the mass authority is to basically put you in fear. And if you and everyone around you is living in fear, you're not going to react in the best way. There's not going to be a focus. There's not going to be any coordination because there's incoherence. It's just going to become a blur. Now, we don't want that if we're trying to accomplish anything. And what am I getting at, folks? If you've listened this long into this discourse, one day in the world, I'm not saying when, I mean obviously we want it to be today, or at least think it's tomorrow, but we're not doing much at all towards that. Watching this video, watching videos like it, which is a way of awakening or getting to the truth of the matter. That's part of it. Yeah, you got to do a lot of that. Limit your intake of other stuff that's useless or eye candy or just empty, superficial. Watch the stuff that's deeper, that has some substance, at least. So when the time comes, you're going to be ready. Sometimes people watch as it's just obvious. It's just saying general things. Well, these things that I've been saying for 6 years, through my different adjustments in life and in video presentation, both, are interchangeable, one within the other. I have been making the point that this awareness and this consciousness needs to become collective. We need to know what we're all agreeing on. I'm not a revolutionary. I'm not actively, physically advocating any kind of an overthrow just at this point, because it would be fruitless. It would be snuffed out like as quick as you can snap your fingers and the best, not the best, I mean the most impatient, bold, brash type of energies and individuals will just be taken out, just identified, and now what would that prove? No, we don't know. We don't even know if him, her, or the other one is with us. We don't even know what's us. There's still a lot of confusion, a lot of chaos. So we have to go over the general points. And this is going to go on. It's going on for 6 years now, what I've been doing, and it's going to continue to go on. I just wish that you would watch this, accept it, and understand my purposes and how I am working for your best interests. And I think of you all, the thousands upon thousands that have been a part of my life now, as things expand, as we can reach out with this technology. I'm thinking well of you, but at the same time I'm saying, like, you know, I don't know which one of you can wake up. I don't know. I don't know. I'm trying to be optimistic here. I'm trying to be optimistic about myself, like what I'm doing. I'm trying to stay out of being karmically responsible to things that are going on. And that's a big learning experience. And then to get over that hump into the area of actually being effective instead of being just neutral. It takes a lot of time. And you don't need to watch my videos with total focus, or let it play in the background, you know, when you're whatever, walking around, cleaning the house, or another, you got some music on or something, you know, I know. That it's not the same pace. That's why I speed up my videos. If you watch, there's probably 10% or more of my videos where I speed it up so fast, it's to the point that it's chipmunk speed, you know, double speed. I think 50% faster is better than 100% faster, or 200% or something. Just enough so that it speeds up. Whatever I have to say in 20 minutes, maybe you can hear it in 15 minutes. This one, I'm not going to speed up. I don't expect to get more than my usual, views in the first initial period. I don't get promoted. It's not. It's just what it is. It's not the greatest outlet that it could be. You know, you see what they're doing now with YouTube. I don't think it's a conspiracy per se. I don't think that YouTube is trying to cover up anything that I'm doing per se. You know, I used to complain in the first year, but that just became a farce after a while. After I realized that they may hear something, like a little bird tweeting, and then they don't do anything about it, but they don't take it seriously, because the corporation is so big now. Unless you get a really big other corporation like Viacom or Sony, or one of these operations, these cartels, to be against you, then there's really no conspiracy. There's none. It's just a matter of how you operate the system here. And that is misinformation that people want to believe to kind of comfort themselves. You know, every kind of thing that I get, every view that I've gotten, if I don't get a view, um, it's because after the years people kind of think they understand what I'm onto and what they can gain from that. And I think it's just subconsciously comforting to them. It's a true comfort to know that I'm still here, still doing what I'm doing. I'm still working hard, I'm still true to it, I'm still dedicated. And that's why I do it. Some days, you know, I feel like quitting, I just very drop into some kind of pessimism or relatively depressed about it. But that's natural. That's not a psychiatric cause to, you know, say that you're no longer a human and you have to go on some kind of chemical drugs. Anyhow, I've done videos and all that stuff, but I have addressed to you. I'm thankful for it. I'm a man of faith, and thanks for bearing with me, the technology, the communications. I've always said, you know, this is like the big thing for Utopia, to grow into the next phase, the second phase, the big phase that I dreamed of, is that we could somehow get together and do things physically instead of just virtually. And most of us never really got there. I had some good meetings, I do have some excellent contacts now, but to the extent of, you know, being a mass movement, Utopia didn't happen like that. The internet, YouTube, Facebook, you know, Twitter, MySpace, all the stuff from the beginning, before YouTube, or came later after YouTube, the networking, communications. Has it created something that is cohesive in the virtual sense, that it's actually a group, a movement? I don't think so. I don't think that Occupy really qualifies to that extent. I mean, they use it as a tool. All these protests and things, flash mobs or whatever you call it. Yeah, this is good, but is it a community? No, I mean a community that settles down and everybody knows each other. And you're not just working on some kind of external enemy. You basically internalize positive.
Daddy?
Has that happened? No.
Daddy?
No.
Dad.
And there's the call.
Daddy, can I have an apple?
Of course, you can have an apple. I'm gonna cut it for you. Or you want to just eat it with your teeth? And that's the thing. People are still in their physical worlds, their families, making a living, dealing with bills, rent, you know, gas, driving around. That's what we still deal with. And a lot of people have turned away from the fantasy of the virtual. That's why Utopia died. A lot of good people that were here 3-4 years ago, they're no longer here anymore. They weren't bonded physically. It was a virtual phase that never went anywhere else. And it's because of how we are. It's because of also how the technology is. It's going to take a long time to get out of this slump. But you see, I'm still really smiling. Thanks for listening.